Oh, you're gonna, oh, never mind.
What?
I didn't know you were gonna start that now.
I have a bag.
Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Dear Becky and Lizzie quasi sideshow something today.
Whatever we feel like doing today. Ha 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 ha. Oh, I should get my ranunculus because we might be.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber, and not super hot yet. Probably going to rain today, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
And I was getting out my crochet hook because I might try a sample swatch. We'll see. I might not be able to think straight and do that. And I started a shawl last night, so now she's starting a shawl. But it's not a competition. So,
but I don't have to plan colors near as well as you do.
You think you don't. You don't realize. Okay, Liz is trying a shawl that I've picked for the September crochet along. And she wants to, I shouldn't speak for you. What are you doing, Liz? I'll go get the ranunculus and then I'll comment.
So we all know I like scrappy yarn. Well, I like scrappy shawls. Yeah. Anyway, so every so often, all these yarn companies send little itty bitty balls of the latest and greatest whatever
to try to convince us
to sell it. So the box in the back with said balls of yarn is getting full.
Yeah.
And so I am going to crochet the shawl that Rebecca's crocheting that we'll talk about the pattern later. Anyway, I'm going to do it all out of scrappy, non-existent yarn in our shop.
Yeah. So that's the problem though. People are going to go, ooh, where can I get that? And I'll say, not here. Or some of these might be yarns we've brought in or thinking about bringing in. And I'm realizing I don't think that that's an older one, but yeah. She'll be crocheting with it, and I'll go, ooh, maybe we should have, but I don't know what that is anymore. But no, you finally have people now who want to know what you're doing. I have to keep track because people want to know what I'm doing, and
it's a problem.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. And luckily our yarn of the week is hiding what you're doing right now just a little bit, but. So I wanted to bring this out because I did have shout out to Karen. One of our knitters said, hey, if you don't have a question, could you talk about why this neckline on the ranunculus works? And we can, but I can't give you a better answer than I already tried to give her over email. Because here's the thing. Okay, there's a crochet cast on edge to the ranunculus that it's the less wide option, and they're both still stretchy and wide, but it is the tighter of the two options, and it starts with a provisional cast on. Now, a provisional cast on is usually where you cast on with waste yarn, like with a crochet hook and a needle, or there's a couple, or you can do a crochet hook chain and knit into it. It's something that you can actually pull out later, and 99% of the time, a provisional cast on is meant so that when you pull it out later, you have live stitches, what we call live stitches that will run away if you pull on them. Like they run, they're live, yay, they're not caught like a usual bind off or cast on. You can put them back on your needle and knit them again, or you can sew them to the end of your garment, like with a cowl, so that you have something that has no seam. That's usually what a provisional cast on is used for. In this case, like when I first helped a customer with this, I was expecting we would release the stitches and sew them in somewhere, because provisional cast on is supposed to give you live stitches that run away if you don't do something with them. And I had to look in the notes for the pattern to be reassured, like the notes on Ravelry, to be reassured that no, it was going to work okay, because it was like, just pull it out. And I went, that can't work. That can't possibly work. It's gonna mess up. I've made 2 sweaters with this collar now, and I can show you, I can guarantee you that it works if you follow the directions correctly. I have a video online that shows me doing this collar with scrap yarn first and then pulling it out, and it works. And I've had to tell a few people who say, well, I'm doing the collar, but it doesn't fit over my head. I say, have you released those stitches from the provisional cast on? Do you still have your waist yarn in it? That might be why it's too tight, because I believe, if I remember correctly, I'm doing too many things right now. The provisional cast on might only be like the 30 stitch one.
Yeah.
But then there's some kind of magic to taking your 30 stitches and doing a knit one yarn over type deal, and then following the instructions, which make it weave. Like you're knitting and slipping or purling and slipping, and the yarn is either in front or in back. Like if you knit, then you slip one with yarn in front, and when you purl, then you slip one with yarn in back. Like there's some kind of magical weaving that happens that your stitches do not fall apart when you pull that provisional cast on out. And I can't tell you what that magic is. I really honestly can't. Somehow the stitches before the cast, like right after that knitting into the crochet chain, the wrapping helps it secure it in some way, but it also becomes stretchy. And I can tell you that usually when you pull out a provisional cast on, it comes out cleanly. And the first time I did it, I said, wait, my provisional, the thread of my provisional cast on, after I pulled that crochet chain out, was still in my stitches, and I had to, because it was waste yarn, I could then snake the remainder piece out. It was almost like a lifeline. But that usually doesn't happen with a provisional cast on. So at first I thought I'd messed up my provisional cast on, but no, that's part of her process. Whatever Midori did in the pattern to make sure it wouldn't fall out means when you pull out the provisional cast on, it's still hanging in your stitches for a second, because there's something wrapped around even your waist yarn that all magically works in the end. I mean, it's not magic.
We call it voodoo magic.
Yeah,
knitting.
It's like,
yeah,
it works. And I think Karen wants to know, but why and how? And if I had more time and energy, I might be able to figure that out. But right now I can just tell you it works. If you follow the directions properly, if you do your own thing thinking, well, it's just a ribbing and I can just do it, you have to follow the directions. And
it's a multi-step process, if I remember correctly.
Right? Oh yeah. It's like 4 rows. After you do the yarn over thing, there's 2 rows of knitting and slipping, and there's 2 rows of purling and slipping, and there's the yarn has to be in a certain position when you slip, and all I can think is it kind of weaves. And I know that trying to think through in your head, but just the weaving shouldn't work, but it does. So I'm sure there is a reason, and I'm sure I could figure out, but I had a migraine yesterday. So I didn't have the extra time and energy to try to figure that out. And I'm known in my tips and tricks videos of like drawing out and mapping out why things work. This one is, I haven't figured out yet, but I know it does. And I have 2 ranunculi right now that have that kind of cast on because I just thought it was cool. And I have one that is still ongoing that has the other cast on. And that one was that one's just taking me longer because I'm swirling all over the place, which is probably what we'll spend the rest of the episode talking about.
Swirly,
what? We chase butterflies and not just the papillon. So, but anyway, if I figure it out sometime, when I have time, when I'm not starting 5 million other things that are catching my fancy right now, I will try to report back. But right now, all we can tell you is it definitely works. There's probably something about, it's not just the knit stitches, it's the yarn overs, and it's the slipping of things, and somehow it all weaves together and it's beautiful. So other stuff for today, because we don't like, if you all want us to talk about something specific on Thursdays, again, we might not have the answer you want, but we'll talk about it. You can always write us a letter at Dear Becky and Lizzie, Sun Dragon Art and Fiber, 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712. Or you can email
Liz at sundragonartandfiber.com.
And we just get to talk about whatever we want to talk about now. So, I started, here, it's in here. I started my sample And it's this, talk about something that's mystifying me. I'm trying to work out color combinations where they won't overlap too much. I started my sample for the September crochet along because I'm going to be doing my Montana bag, which I'm hoping to finish up this weekend. I just have to do the strap and like the cinch cord on it and stuff. But that's in the same place it was on Tuesday. So I have nothing more to show you on that. But with my migraine, it was like I could do socks. No, that's still gonna hurt my head. And all of this hurt my head. But I started plotting colors for the September crochet along because what I'm gonna try, and we'll see how fast I burn out on all this, is every month I'm gonna start a new either crochet along or knit along. And so July is the bag, crochet bag. August is going to be brioche cowl. And September is a pattern I stumbled across that I didn't pick for July because it could be big and hot. But it is the log cabin. It's super simple log cabin shawl. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to do a rainbow. And so we picked out some colors. I've got a whole palette you can see on Instagram or Facebook. And I started, this is what I've, oh, this is kind of the backside, not that matters. I started this and I was like, ooh, rainbow. And I'm going to have one rainbow go from top to bottom, like red out, and one rainbow go from bottom to top. So it's going purple down. And I'm trying not to pick too many colors for this. So I was going to do 5. And then I'm like, but then I can't get a whole rainbow. So then we went with 7 and it was 6 colors, the Roy G. Biv thing and a cream. So I started with the cream. And then I started realizing that doing this like one way and then the other, I was going to potentially have one color that met in the middle instead of doing this jig jog. That's the log cabin effect. It was going to just give me a V stripe. And now I might just have to warm up to that because I said, okay, I'll put a teal in. And then it won't do that. And then I realized with the teal this morning, I realized like doing my morning meditation and thinking about colors, I was like, okay, without the teal, I think the yellow is going to make a V. And with the teal, I think the green is going to make a V. And then I thought maybe I should just take the cream out and move the purple up. I think it still might do the same thing at some point though. I don't know. I'm really overthinking this. And I saw that. But I might start another sample. I am just using Cascade 220 Superwash for this. Nice DK, H hook, just having fun. I'm gonna rip through this once I figure out colors. So I might start a sample that's got the purple up here and goes out, or I just don't know. Or maybe I can have the red go out and then the purple start here. I don't know. I mean, if y'all have input, go ahead and give me input. I may or may not listen. But this is one thing I did last night. And this is what Liz is starting. I'm going to hold up just since we've been talking. She's got her little triangle like this. And you're starting this one, yep. Right? Yeah. Yep. Yesterday I was starting this sitting out in the gazebo with my migraine and I blew right through the color change because my migraine. But so I'm gonna try a couple different versions of this, but this will be our September crochet along. And the reason I picked it, I think is going to be so cool because you can pick different thicknesses. You don't have to do DK. You can go thicker, you can go thinner. You can pick as many or as few colors as you want. Like everybody's is going to look different. Like hold yours up, Liz, again. It's gonna make you do stuff. Yeah. Like she's got a color changing yarn I'm using solids. It already looks different. So
I want to know what it's gonna look like completely scrappy.
So if you run out of yarn mid-stripe, you might just pick
up another yarn. Yeah. Like because all the balls that I will be using are 25 gram balls. So
so at some point when it gets longer,
yeah,
she's gonna run out.
Like I had over half a ball left of the color changing, but eventually that could get thrown back in depending on.
Yeah.
But
so go ahead.
While you're looking for what you're looking for, I told Rebecca this morning that I couldn't knit on the projects that I have at the shop. I mean, I have some other crochet projects, but yesterday I got the gusset on my
This is what happens
heel
when
on my
you pick
socks.
really thick yarn to make socks out of. She's already at the heel.
And I can't turn a heel, read the pattern, and talk. So
I have finally defeated her. Not really.
So, and then I have applied lace on my hap shawl, and that's a 16 row repeat that I kind of have to like pay attention to where I am. So that's not going to happen. And
So she's starting a new project.
so
And it has nothing to do with me starting a new project yesterday.
Nope,
Nothing at all. Okay, so what I spent the majority of my evening last night doing is gauge swatching for 2 projects from this pom-pom that are both crochet that I talked about, I think on Tuesday, that I have so many other things to do. I should not be doing this. I should is a shame word, but still it's there. There are other things I ought to be doing. I don't have to use the shame word, but it's still a thing. So, I brought home because I'm like, okay, regardless, I am a loose crocheter, so I'm probably going to need teeny tiny hooks for anything in this thing that I'm doing, because it's all like fingering and sport weight, the things I want to do. So I brought home, I hold it over my t-shirt so you can see it, a D hook and a B hook. B and C they don't make in wood because they'll just snap. So I took home these 2 thinking one of these is going to work for stuff. And the bag, I'm thinking about making the bag, like I ripped out what I was making with this pink, which was a different cover of pom-pom, a top that I was never going to finish. It was cool. It was interesting. I was never going to finish it. It was like knit this way. I was never going to finish it. So I ripped that out, and I've got a couple different, like there's neat different patterns to this bag that they did in like a linen. And I'm like, I could do it in the Zoe. That could be cool. And they did it with a 3.5 millimeter hook and a 4 millimeter hook. And there are 3 different gauge things to check out because there's different patterns. And 2 of them are with a 3.5 millimeter and 1 is with the 4 millimeter. And like, can you get gauge? So a D is a
readers.
No, it's just teeny tiny. I don't know if a reader would help me with that.
They would actually. That's what they do.
3.25 millimeter. So this is smaller than what I'm supposed to be doing it with. I'm a loose crocheter. And you can't really see it here. It's all in the round too, by the way. So I have a little cuff in the round that I was doing. And this, one of the stitches has these double crochets that jig jog. And I did that. And it was supposed to be like 19 over 4 inches. And I think I was getting like 8 stitches over 2 inches, so it's like 16, much too big with my D. And I tried one of the other, there's a moss stitch and they're moss stitch, and she's just totally enraptured in that.
No, okay. I was like, wait, how do I go up from where I'm ready to go? It's in there.
I could tell you, but are you trying to make the thing like this?
Yeah, I've got to go in here and
then
go up.
And you've got to chain 3 and go back.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then there's a moss stitch, and the moss stitch is like every other stitch. You're doing a single and a double and a single and a double. And then the way back, you're doing a double and a single. And like and I did that one, and that one was coming out too big. So I went to my B, way too small, but I don't have the C, right? I think I'm getting gauge or close to it with the B.
That's insane.
But I can actually work the Zoe with the B, like with this little metal guy. It's working. And see that part up top? That's what I just did with the B. And it has a finer mesh to it. It turns out I'm going to do all this stuff, even though I'm probably never going to finish the project again as long as I live.
It's not a thing.
The bag, the colorful bag is 3 colors because it's reversible. There's a color inside, so you can flip this inside out. So I could make it out of 1 color, or I think there's two sides to this. There's an inside and outside with different stitches, and then there's the stitch for the top. I think the top's in the bigger stitch. And but if it's designed to be reversible, I should do a couple of colors. I think. Not even the should. It would be fun to. How about that? Let me find see that picture there.
Oh, I see
that?
It's lined.
The moss is on the inside with this navy color, and the pink colors on the outside. And of course, I'm looking at our colors, and I could pick out colors that are very similar to this. Question is, do I want to? But that pink that y'all can see in front of Liz is calling my name. It's one of our new colors. By the way, the Zoe is 15% off this week with the code product of the week if you don't watch the VSC. So that's one thing, right? And I think I'm going to go ahead and use the teeny tiniest needle we have in the shop that's designed for crochet and not thread crochet for the bag. It's going to take me forever, or maybe not, but hey, yes.
Taking forever is such a
relative term.
Yes, because we squirrel on projects or chase
that's why it takes forever.
Or that's why it takes forever. Because if we were semi-monogamous, which occasionally we are, it's amazing what we get done.
Yes. And that is why there's two reasons why if someone comes into the shop and says, how long will it take me to make this? There's two reasons why we cannot answer that.
We're here.
Huh?
We're here, so we don't have a quantifiable amount of time that we knit or crochet.
That wasn't one of my answers, but that works too. What I was going to say, I mean, that's part of it, is how much time do you have to crochet or knit is variable for everyone. So that plays into that. That might be a part 3, right? What I was going to say to start with, number one, we have so many projects going.
We do.
We can't really quantify how long it takes to do one, because I don't have the time and energy to say, well, I spent 3 hours a week on this one and 4 hours on this one. And, you know, I don't have a logbook. I don't clock in and out on a project. And I have way too many projects going. So I could hold up a sweater that it's taken me 2 years to finish, but that doesn't mean it will take me 2 years to knit a sweater. It means that one's been in timeout for a while. The other thing is, not everyone knits or crochets at the same pace. So if I tell you I can make a pair of socks in a weekend, or I have made a sweater in a week when I had nothing else to do, that doesn't mean if you are retired and have a lot of time on your hands, you can also finish it in a week, and you're a failure if you don't. Everybody knits and crochets at a different pace.
The sweater you finished in a week, you were at someone else's house.
I was at my sister's house.
So it wasn't like you had to focus on your house too.
And there were times I was doing stuff with the family. It's not like I was like, everyone go away. I know I'm here to visit family, but I have to finish this. But at the same time, I didn't have a lot of other responsibilities. And I dedicated, and there were times when I was watching TV or doing something else, and I was just like, I'm gonna rip through this, woo, you know. And not everyone, you know, not everyone's gonna knit at that pace. There is no right or wrong to any of this. People say, I want to learn to continental knit because it's faster. It is for some people. It's less kinetic motion in continental knitting.
I want to say we were talking about it on Knit Night, and somebody mentioned that the world record holder for fastest knitter is an English knitter on straight needles. So people should move to straights if you want to be faster. It's like, it's whatever you, we hold to the, it's whatever you practice most.
And even if you practice a whole lot, you may not be faster than me, or you might be faster than me. It's
how much time do you have to dedicate to practicing?
Yes, but still, even then, not everyone's going to suddenly become a whiz and fast. And
we just get to mistakes faster.
It depends on what your goal is. And like, if your goal with knitting is to get fast, then you might want to practice and do X, Y, and Z. If your goal with knitting is to de-stress, that's not always connected to how fast or slow you go, or it could be connected to doing it slower. know.
Well,
But-
and over time, you'll find that you like when you're a beginner,
Mhm.
it's like you have to count every, in, out, wrap,
You don't have to, but you
well,
often do.
but your brain
I'm
kinda, yeah.
okay, you get really literal
Sorry.
with me. I'm gonna get really literal with you right back. Like there's I catch language things for like I'm listening with the the novice or beginner's
Yeah.
ears of like, oh my god, you have to do that. What? No, you
you-
can. You often do.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Um,
I disrupted
but
you.
as you get the longer you're doing it, the more like almost mindless it becomes, unless there's a pattern, and then you're like mindless, crap, mindless, like
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's all, yeah. So the other thing I did last night is I tried to do a gauge swatch for cover of this because Liz helped me pick out colors to do, and this was done with a linen, like a sport weight / fingering weight linen. And we have a sport weight linen in the shop, but really random inventory of it because I haven't reordered it in a really long time. And you twisted my arm and talked me into fiber space, 4-ply for not necessarily a
Twisted
summer.
so hard.
Ow, ow, ooh, I'm doing it. Okay, it wasn't hard. And what we came up with, because there's 5 colors, is this. But I decided before I wasted, like, I have to see if I can get gauge because it's hard for me to get gauge on crochet things because I'm such a loose crocheter. But so instead of balling any of these up, because just in case I can't get gauge, I didn't want to take things out of inventory and not have them available for y'all. So I have these set aside, but they're not out of inventory yet. And this is one of my balls from my Princess Bride Mystery Knit Along. And I took home, right? I took home my D and my B. And they have motif things should measure blah, blah, blah. But they also said in double crochet, this many stitches by this many rows should be 4 inches. And it was, I think it was 19. No, it's 22. It's 22. 22 double crochets should be 4 inches, like wide. So I started with, I'm pretty sure, no, I might have started with this one. I went to the teeny tiny, I went to the B. And I chained like 30 or so. And I was sitting there and I was watching my TV shows and got a few rows of double crochet in so I could measure. And I'm not the most proficient swatcher. Like I should make bigger swatches to measure, and I could be off a little bit, but I measured with my B, and I got about, by calculations, because I think I measured over 2 inches, and then I actually did measure the 4. And I was doing it with my wrist ruler, maybe not on a flat surface, maybe not the best, but I was getting about 25. So for 4 inches, which means I had too many stitches in that space, which means they were too small. A lot of people hear too many and they think big. No, because I had too many over my 4 inches, it means they were too small. So my B was way too small. Not way, but too small. So I said, okay, I've got the B and I've got the D. In the alphabet, they're not far apart from each other, right? So then I did the same thing again with my D, and I chained and I did a few rows so I could measure, like not attached to the chain in case the chain was wibble wobbly. And I got 19. I'm supposed to have 22. And I'm going, what? Crazy different. And then I actually looked at these because when you're that teeny tiny, you think that there's not much difference between these hooks and things. The B is 2.25 millimeters and the D is 3.2. There's a whole millimeter of difference. And that doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot, especially for me as a loose crocheter. So this is a C. I'm hoping a C will be close enough, especially because this is supposed to have some openness to it. So one of my things today, if I have time, is going to be making a gauge swatch with the C. I could just say, well, that's my only option. Let's just dive in. But I'm going to test it. I'm going to test it and see how close I am. Because the other option is if nothing's going to get me gauge, I could go with what I what I liked how it felt. And I really kind of did like the bee, like the really tight mesh. So I'm gonna see what it looks like with
a C.
with a C. I'm already having trouble talking and doing this at the same time. Shocker. And is that a stitch? Is that a, I think that's a, oh, that got pulled really tight. But it's my gauge swatch, so I don't care. Because I won't measure this row anyway. I'll measure a row or two above it. So, but anyway, I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna see if I like the C, 2 different C's there. And then I might start this project too. So then I'll have all these crochet projects going, and I really should finish my knit projects too.
Well, it's a good thing that crochet projects don't count to the overall total of projects,
In
because
Liz's brain, they
theoretically
don't count.
you can pull that hook out and go to a different project.
You don't have to buy another. Well, it's like the Montana bag and my dragon, I'm using the same hook. And so it's not like I had to buy a second hook unless I lose it. I don't have to buy a second hook. I just switch projects.
I am using the same hook for my bigger, bulky Montana bag and my.
Oh, that's right. You have
Montana
Montana bags going
I
somewhere,
have
don't
2
you?
Montana bags. I have 4 ranunculi. I have a crap ton of yeah, here at the shop. I've been leaving projects at the shop just so I'm like, oh, look, I could work on those today. And then I start a new project.
Yes. So,
Because that's not a thing.
anyway, so that, yeah, I spent my night just kind of testing stuff for all these new projects I want to start. And there's other knit projects in this pom-pom. Like this might be one of the pom-poms that I actually get a lot of mileage out of. I mean, it's a bigger pom-pom. I can't remember if they're all going to be bigger going forward or not, but there are patterns for different seasons, and you can always change the season of a pattern by what fiber you knit or crochet it with. I do like pom-pom because they have both knit and crochet. Noro's been getting into that too. Noro always kind of has, but has also been embracing both the knit and crochet in their magazines. So there's options. I will say Noro magazine, they're coming out with so many new yarns. I can't keep up. The shop, we can't stock them all. I'd like to bring in another one of their non-wool blends, but where are we going to put it? So, you know, anyway, it's all food for thought, right? So I have a lot of stuff to dabble with today, but there's, like what Liz was saying before, one of the things I hadn't considered, but is very true, is when we're here, like right now, we're both attempting to work on stuff, but when we're here, once the day gets going, oftentimes, like, I won't get back to this. I picked out some colors yesterday, but I really didn't do much crafting yesterday. I was getting pictures up online. We were doing the video. We had customers, you know, those pesky customers.
Lessons.
I had a couple of lessons yesterday morning, and I have another one this morning. There's just always a lot of stuff going on. There's orders I need to place that I haven't gotten around to because other stuff has not distracted me. Like this is distracting, but there's been other stuff to do during the day, and then I get home and it's just, I'm tired. So we have some potential for weather the rest of this week that might keep us from doing fun things outside we want to do. But yeah, it's just, life is crazy sometimes. So I'm trying to think, was there anything else? Because I think we should probably get ready to go. We should get ready to open the shop. This is what happens when I try to talk and crochet, and my migraine from yesterday is pretty much gone, but sometimes my vocabulary doesn't recover fully. So let's see. Let us know if there's things you want us to talk about. This is so small. You almost see, look, almost can't tell I'm doing anything right now. Let us know if there's things you want us to talk about. Tomorrow night, we have virtual sit and stitch. Friday night, virtual sit and stitch from 7 to 9 p.m. on Zoom. And the meeting code to get in is our shop phone number.
828-877-3550.
And then Saturday, if the weather holds, I have a sock class in the morning. that unless you're on the heel of the Mina's vanilla sock recipe, it might be challenging to just jump into that. But then in the afternoon, and I might talk to my participant in that class, and we'll do it inside with masks if it's really crazy, because it's gonna rain all day Saturday. Maybe we just don't know.
There's
but
a
maybe
good chance of rain like all week.
the rest of the week. Yeah, it's very true. So we've been trying in June to have outdoor sit and stitch on Saturday afternoons. And like last Saturday was lovely. We moved over to the shade over there when the building provided enough shade, and there were a bunch of us hanging out and having a lovely time. But that's weather dependent. We don't really have the space or the capacity or the energy to do it inside with masks. And even with masks, like hanging out that long inside as a big group is a little challenging right now. So know that if you're planning on heading out here, either plan for dress appropriately for wet weather. Well, we have a little bit of coverage here if there's not a band out there. Like there's going to be a band out there for lunch today, which means the place we would hang out outside if it's raining won't be available. Know that heading out, or just be ready if it's really nasty, that we're not going to hang out, unfortunately. So come with a plan B, or come ready to shop, and if you don't get to hang out, we'll try again another week, or we'll miss you but don't come. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So okay, I have this is my first little row testing with my C. And I'm not going to measure this. I'm going to do 2 or 3 more rows above it before I measure and count and see how my gauge is going for this top. And I'm not using red in it, but this is yarn I already have balled up for a different project, because I can rip this out once I figure out what my gauge is going to be. And they have like pre and post blocking and things like that. And I'm just going to wing it. So look at all she did. Crochet goes
Started
on the whole, crochet goes faster than knitting. Based on our previous discussion, we have people who learn to crochet and say, I thought it was going to be fast. So it says what I say to them. It says to them, it's not going to be fast at first. When you're learning anything, it's not fast. And a lot of the quickness of crochet is based on you can build stitches higher and faster than knitting. But it eats up more yarn. We've had that philosophical discussion quite a bit. So y'all have a great weekend. I always take off one of my rings to crochet. I'm going to put it back on now. But y'all have a great weekend. Join us if you can. Yes, that is, I mean, she's just picking the random colors were sent to us, but they go together, which is fun. That's the fun of Scrappy, is where's your I don't care bar on if it goes together or not. And if you have a high I don't care bar, then you have to plan out your Scrappy. So, anyway, we love y'all. Miss you. We see a lot of you. So those people we don't miss, but I have things I need to check that are coming in on my watch as we speak. And we're going to go get ready to hopefully get a little bit of stuff in outside before it rains. So bye.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff to keep us going and keep us spreading to more people who will enjoy our company. So we are almost at 1,070 subscribers. So we're still growing, which is really fun. So bye.